Right now, families unleash grief and anger on the Parkland, Florida school shooter.
Also, how a multi-million-dollar donation is helping out the Urban League of Greater Madison.
And we are following the campaign trail as big-name surrogates head out to bolster their party candidates. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
I have sadness and I have grief. I am broken. I am broken. I am broken.
Patricia Oliver, the mother of one of the children who died in the Parkland, Florida school shooting. Families of the 17 people killed in that school massacre from 2018 were able to directly speak to the shooter today.
Nicholas Cruz sat silently as he also heard from people he wounded in the first of a 2-day sentencing hearing. Most expressed rage that he did not receive the death penalty.
And Christian Benavides is at the courthouse in Fort Lauderdale.
Families of the students and staff killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School unleashed their rage on gunman Nicholas Cruz.
And Parkland murder, I hope your maker sends you directly to hell to burn for the rest of your eternity.
Many of the families and survivors testified during the penalty trial, but were only allowed to describe what happened and their grief. Tuesday, they could address Cruz directly.
We hope that you, the monster who did this to our son, endure a painful existence in your remaining days.
Teacher Stacy Lapel says she came within 20 feet of Cruz before she was able to close her classroom door, saving her students.
Because of you, I will never feel safe again.
After the families and survivors give their statements, the judge will formally impose the jury sentence to life in prison without parole. Most who spoke expressed disgust. Cruz didn't get the death penalty.
Shameful, despicable behavior by you people.
Patricia Oliver, who lost her son Joaquin, railed against the defense attorneys who'd argued their clients should be spared because of his mother's drug and alcohol abuse while pregnant, and he never got the help he needed.
Karma will eventually catch up to you all.
Some families want the state's law changed so jurors do not have to be unanimous on the death penalty. In this case, 3 of the 12 jurors voted against it. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Fort Lauderdale.
The convicted killer's attorneys say he is not expected to speak during this hearing. Well, it is the little donations that can really add up when fundraising toward a multi-million-dollar goal, but big ones certainly go a long way.
Just ask the Urban League of Greater Madison, suddenly finding itself with $3 million it didn't have before yesterday. Andrew Banstra explains how they'll use it. Andrew?
Yeah, the Urban League needed to raise $26 million to complete its Black Business Hub on Madison's South Side. Tonight, a big donation brings them even closer to that goal. But not all the money is going to brick and mortar.
When a representative of one of the richest people in the world calls to offer your nonprofit money, it stuns you.
I was utterly surprised that she knew about the work of the Urban League of Greater Madison.
The Urban League of Greater Madison was one of Mackenzie Scott's 24 grant recipients yesterday. CEO Ruben Anthony says Scott is giving them nearly $3 million.
It's something that we need. We have a lot of projects going on right now.
About a third of that will go to the Black Business Hub, a 76,000 square foot state-of-the-art building on Park Street to kickstart Black entrepreneurs and businesses.
With that Black Business Hub, we're attempting to address many of the disparities. We know that in Dane County, there is 10,000 businesses with more than one employee. And of those 10,000 businesses, only 40 of those businesses are Black-owned businesses.
The remaining $1.9 million will help speed up existing Urban League programs, such as housing. Anthony says that only 1 in 4 Black people are homeowners in Wisconsin, the 3rd worst rate in the nation. In Madison, that number plummets to 9%.
That makes a big difference because it creates an opportunity for the transfer of generational wealth because with most families, that mortgage and that home is the thing that allows them to make an investment in the business. It's the item that allows them to pay for a child's college.
The money, too, will kickstart careers through workforce funding. And according to local leaders, their work and this funding are game changers for the region.
So this is the missing piece in the region. And it is, because there will be no other economic entity in this state that will have as many resources available in one place as the Black Business Hub.
The Urban League of Greater Madison is one of 25 urban leagues that received similar donations from Scott across the country, who pledged nearly $100 million to urban leagues nationwide.
Andrew, thank you. It is the first day of November. Feels a little more like September out there.
Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti is on the weather patio. Gary?
Yeah, 70 degrees in November. Boy, that is really nice. And we've got a couple more days that will follow. Let's start out by looking at visible cloud track. One of the reasons we have bright sunshine, hardly a cloud in the sky across Wisconsin. So we take advantage of the sun, even though it's lower in the sky and it's not out for as long. Still, it'll warm up the ground enough to get temperatures well above normal. And as we check out Doppler track right now, not a drop of rain anywhere across the Midwest. That we could use. And there is some rain in the forecast, but not until later this week. High temperatures today, right around 70 degrees here in Madison, right at 70, but mid 70s to the west, a little cooler in a couple spots in the upper 60s to the east. Monroe 69 for the high. And right now temperatures are in the upper 60s to the lower 70s through much of southern Wisconsin, even close to Lake Michigan, not seeing much of a lake cooling. 70 right now in Verona, 69 McFarland, 70 degrees in Cross Plains across Dane County. Look for mostly clear skies this evening. Temperatures dropping off to about 50 degrees by late evening. And it looks like we'll see, like I say, a couple more mild days before some rain is in the forecast. I'll tell you how much rain we can expect and when we'll see it in just a few minutes.
Gary, thank you. A pedestrian has died after she was hit by a vehicle outside of Whitewater over the weekend. Authorities say the crash happened Saturday evening on the northwest edge of Whitewater. 30-year-old Maricela del Carmen Rivas was struck when she was attempting to cross County Highway N and later died at a local hospital. The driver was not injured in the crash and stayed at the scene until law enforcement arrived.
Domestic abuse intervention services and Dane County officials are saying a new 24/7 text helpline for people in abusive situations has gotten a good response. The text line allows people to contact DAYS for help discreetly and confidentially. It also could help people who are deaf, hard of hearing, and others who just prefer texting. More than 30 people texted in the first month of its operation.
We certainly want to always make sure that our services are as available and as accessible as possible to folks. And so having a 24-hour text line is another way for people to connect with our services.
Barry says when a text comes in, an advocate will contact the person within 15 minutes.
Chief Justice John Roberts has put a temporary hold on the handover of former President Donald Trump's tax returns to a congressional committee. Roberts' order gives the Supreme Court time to weigh the legal issues in Trump's emergency appeal to the High Court, which was filed on Monday. President Biden, just one of the many big-name surrogates trying to rally supporters in key battleground states. The president told voters in the battleground state of Florida that it's Democrats, not Republicans, who can best tackle economic problems. The president will also campaign with gubernatorial candidate Charlie Crist and Senate hopeful Val Demings. It's not just Democrats rolling out the big names hoping to get supporters to the polls. Former Vice President Mike Pence rallying voters in the battleground state of Georgia. The Peach State will play a key role in determining which party controls the Senate, as former NFL running back Herschel Walker is looking to unseat incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock. Now, don't forget to visit our election page at channel3000.com. There you'll find everything you need to know about early voting, voter information, and our reality check series. And then on Election Day, you can find the latest up-to-the-minute results for all the biggest races in your area.
South Korean officials have admitted responsibility and apologized for failures in preventing and responding to a Halloween crowd surge that killed more than 150 people. The National Police Chief says officers didn't effectively handle emergency calls about the impending disaster. The South Korean government is facing growing public scrutiny over whether the crowd surge Saturday night in Seoul's popular nightlife neighborhood could have been prevented and who should take responsibility. It was the country's worst disaster in years, leaving at least 156 people dead and 151 others injured. Rapper Takeoff has died after a shooting outside of a Houston bowling alley. Kirsnick Kari Ball was known as Takeoff and part of the group Migos. He was 28 years old. Houston police officers say officers responded early this morning to reports of a shooting. No arrests have been made. They had a string of Billboard hits, including Versace, which was ranked as one of the 50 best songs of 2013 by Spin magazine.
The Powerball moves up $1.2 billion now after another drawing without a winner last night. Despite there being no jackpot winner, more than 5.4 million tickets won cash prizes totaling $59.5 million in the Halloween night drawing. Now, if a player wins Wednesday's jackpot, it will be the second largest jackpot in Powerball history, only behind the world record $1.586 billion Powerball jackpot from 2016. It would also be the fourth largest jackpot overall in U.S. lottery history. Still to come, your complete forecast as we start the new month off with unseasonably warm weather.
And how computerized knees are life-changing for an 8-year-old amputee and could be a difference maker in the world of prosthetics. We'll have that story next.
And on Wall Street, the markets dip marginally lower. The Dow Jones falls almost 80 points. The Nasdaq loses 97. S&P down 16 at the closing bell, and we'll be right back.
Tim Michaels and Tony Evers have very different plans for Wisconsin. Tim Michaels wants to ban abortion, including in cases of rape or incest. Tony Evers wants to get costs down. Michaels would jail the doctors who perform abortions. Evers would lower costs. And while Michaels said gay people shouldn't leave their house, Evers is still really set on that cost thing. So here's the choice. Tim Michaels' plan for fewer rights and more division, or Tony Evers' plan to drive costs down, down, down.
The Internet of Things is evolving, creating the Internet of You. And Spectrum, America's leading internet and mobile provider, is bringing you seamless connectivity across all your devices. Introducing Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits, advanced Wi-Fi, and Spectrum Mobile Unlimited, all for just $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999. Spectrum Internet delivers speeds up to a gig with over 99.9% network reliability. Advanced Wi-Fi provides enhanced security and privacy that automatically blocks threats to protect all of your devices. And Spectrum Mobile gives you unlimited talk, text, and data with nationwide 5G and the most reliable service coast to coast. Switch now. Call 833-673-4999. At Spectrum, it's not just about connecting things. It's about connecting you. Get it all with Spectrum One, Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for $49.99 a month. Call 833-673-4999 or visit a Spectrum store today.
Winter is almost here, which means it's time to get your home ready for anything the season will throw at you. Menards has everything you need to stay productive during the winter. Whether you're trying to keep up with the snow, save on energy, or warm up by the fire, trust the team that's dedicated to service and quality to help you make the most of your winter. Whether that's inside or out, right now get 11% off everything you need this winter.
Save big money at Menards. A 12-year-old girl can't legally drive a car. At 12, she can't even vote. But if this little girl were tragically raped or a victim of incest and became pregnant, radical Tim Michaels would force her to deliver the baby. He said it's, quote, not unreasonable for the state government to mandate rape victims to give birth. Would it be unreasonable if he were forcing this on you? Let him know on Election Day.
Being able to exercise your rights is a key part of the American identity. The Literacy Network has helped a Madison resident achieve those guarantees.
And we hear the journey of a former Peruvian citizen voting this November, tonight at 6.
As Campaign 2022 approaches the finish line, News 3 Now presents a special midterm election preview.
We're spotlighting key races and issues, fact-checking candidates, and hearing the voices of voters in Battleground, Wisconsin.
Saturday at 7 p.m. on News 3 Now. You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Election Day is a week from today, and whether or not you vote on November 8th, you might still take your right to do so for granted.
Well, not so for many of the immigrants who now call this country home. Tahlil Mohadeen met one such person today who leaned on a Madison organization to help him prepare to vote for the very first time. Tahlil?
That's right. Teachers at the Literacy Network tell me this year alone, almost 30 students, immigrants and refugees from all over the world have become citizens with the help of those classes in Madison. They say their students work for months and sometimes years to prepare for the U.S. citizenship test. The goal is to get them engaged in the electoral process. Ruth Robart has been helping immigrants learn to read and write English for the past 12 years. She says many of her students believe becoming an American comes with a sense of duty.
I look at my students as really the future of our country. They and their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I am always energized by working with them.
Literacy Network leaders tell me most students learn about the citizenship class through word of mouth or through their ESL program. Robart says so far she's helped almost 90 students become citizens. And tonight at 6, we'll hear about one of those students' journey from Peru to the United States and why he's thrilled to be voting for the first time this election.
Tahlil, thank you. Prosthetics with computerized knees are helping an 8-year-old amputee do everyday things that at one point may have seemed impossible.
She is the youngest person in the world to receive them. Tina Krause introduces us to a little girl from Bath, England, who knows no bounds.
8-year-old Harmony Rose Allen is relishing her newfound mobility thanks to her high-tech prosthetic legs.
I love them. And on a scale to 1 to 10, I'm enjoying them.
Harmony contracted meningitis as a baby. Sepsis from the infection ravaged her body, forcing doctors to amputate her arms, legs, and the tip of her nose before her first birthday. Meningitis can be viral or bacterial, but the latter is of particular concern. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 10 people who contract bacterial meningitis will die, and 1 in 5 have severe complications, including amputation after sepsis. And good. The knees of her new prosthetics are fitted with tiny computers. Sensors in the legs detect what Harmony is doing and change resistance using hydraulics, reducing her risk of falls. Her mom says Harmony was a quick study.
By the end of the week, she was walking independently. You can't explain the feeling, really, because it was just so lovely.
And Harmony is putting her prosthetics through their paces.
She's an active girl. I think we last measured her at 2,500 steps a day, which for a bilateral amputee, that's just amazing. So, you know, they are surviving her.
She can even climb stairs.
As long as she can hold on, she's able to climb stairs with these on.
And 2 steps on top of each other I can climb, but like with no holder.
It's onward and upward for one determined young girl. Tina Krause, CBS News, London.
It's incredible. Harmony is also a dedicated advocate. At age 6, she became the first junior ambassador for Meningitis Now, a charity dedicated to fighting the disease.
Let's get a look at your certified most accurate weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. Gary?
Looking really nice out there. The high temperature trend over the next 10 days, you can see the average high temperature goes from 52 down to 47 10 days from now. But we're about 20 degrees above those temperatures, at least in the short term. Highs in the 70s for the next 2 days, mid-60s on Friday. That's kind of a transition day with some scattered showers and thunderstorms that will linger into Saturday morning. Cold front on Saturday might actually drop temperatures off a bit in the afternoon, but they'll bounce right back up for Sunday, Monday, and Election Day Tuesday with highs right around 60 degrees. Could be another chance for a shower or thunderstorm on Election Day, and then after that, temperatures start to wind down, and by Friday of next week, we'll actually see temperatures below normal. But 3 things you need to know in the forecast. Those high temperatures remaining well above normal for the next couple of days. Those shower chances mainly from Thursday night through Saturday morning. That seems to be about the preferred time for the rain, and there'll be a few thunderstorms in there as well. But again, even though temperatures won't be as warm as the next couple of days, they'll be above normal for the early part of next week. On future track, winds out of the south, sunny skies, got temperatures up around 70 for today. We'll see clear skies. Southerly winds tonight will keep temperatures up, and tomorrow look for pretty much the same weather pattern for tomorrow. It's lots of sunshine, southerly winds, temperatures up around 70. Maybe a few more clouds tomorrow night, keeping temperatures up into the lower 50s. And Thursday will still reach the 70s, but notice the clouds developing out to the west. And there's a cold front. Notice the wind shift here from the southwest to the north. You'll see scattered showers and thunderstorms develop along and just behind and ahead of that front as it moves into southern Wisconsin on Friday. But then the front kind of hangs up. So you can see on Friday at 1 p.m., winds out of the south across much of southern Wisconsin, shifting to the north back toward the La Crosse area. And this front will stay nearly stationary for the rest of Friday and into Friday night and Saturday morning with some showers and thunderstorms. And then another front will sweep through on Saturday afternoon, clearing things out. But before then, no rain at all through Thursday evening. And then showers and thunderstorms and a couple of waves bring perhaps an inch to maybe 2 or locally 3 inches of rain through much of south central Wisconsin. Spread out over a day and a half, that should not cause any problems with flooding, and we can certainly use the moisture. It's been dry around here. Much of the country has been dry. Notice we're kind of in a split flow. We've got the main jet stream, the polar jet stream, well to the north, the southern branch of the jet stream to the south, bringing waves of showers and a few thunderstorms, mainly to our south and east. So we're kind of sitting in the middle, high and dry, at least for the time being. But as we zoom into the Midwest, we've got plenty of sunshine. That's the one nice thing about being in that split flow. And those temperatures are very mild. There's a stationary front up near the U.S.-Canadian border. Any cold air is staying north of that. So right now, temperatures very mild across the Midwest. Upper 60s, lower 70s through much of Wisconsin, even a couple degrees warmer out to the west compared to 24 hours ago. You can see those temperatures about 5 to 10 degrees above where they were at this time yesterday. And you remember how nice of a day it was for Halloween. Planning your night, look for mostly clear skies, not as chilly. Low temperature dropping to 44 in Verona, 45 in Brooklyn, and 44 in Stoughton. For the rest of southern Wisconsin, 45 for the low in Platteville, 46 in Baraboo. Again, clear skies across pretty much the entire state. Tomorrow, bright sunshine, mostly sunny, unseasonably mild. High temperature at 71 in the 7 to 10 day forecast. Just as nice for Thursday with a few more clouds, high of 70. Then those scattered showers and thunderstorms Friday into Saturday morning. We'll turn a little cooler Saturday afternoon, but be back around 60 for Sunday, Monday, and Election Day Tuesday. Maybe another chance for showers and thunderstorms then. And then drier and cooler for the end of next week. Temperatures actually back below normal by Friday of next week. As we check out first warn traffic right now, not seeing any problems. Beltline looking very nice. A lot of green there. Just a little bit of a slowdown around the usual spot around Monona Drive. As far as travel times, about a 15 to 16 minute trip either way on the Beltline between University Avenue and the Interstate. Inbound on East Washington Avenue to downtown will take you 18 minutes from Sun Prairie. Outbound, 19-minute trip there. 16-minute trip from Middleton to Sauk City on US 12, and 24 minutes from the Beltline to Janesville on I-3990. That's your News 3 Now First Warn traffic.
Gary, thank you. The NFL trade deadline has come and gone. What the Packers did today versus what the rest of the NFC North did. The story coming up.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
He pushed tax loopholes benefiting himself. Send him back, and he'll make things worse. Ron Johnson would let Wisconsin ban abortion, even in cases of rape, and said if you don't like it, you can move. He voted to raise the retirement age and wants to end guaranteed spending on the Social Security you earned.
Social Security is a legal Ponzi scheme, but that's exactly what it is.
Ron Johnson, still making it harder on us. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
As falling leaves give way to snow, Midwestern winters bring rough weather and high energy bills. Feldco's here to help with our biggest sale of the season. 50% off windows, no money down, and no interest until 2024. Winter's right around the corner, and the clock is ticking.
50% off windows ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Breaking news in Dallas, Texas, where at least 5 police officers were killed when they were ambushed.
This was the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since 9/11.
Just days after this horrific crime, Mandela Barnes appeared on Vladimir Putin's propaganda news outlet and rationalized violence against American police officers.
Police officers are over-exercising their badges. This probably was a retaliatory attack.
Do you want Mandela Barnes representing you in the Senate?
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
If you overdraw your account, Wells Fargo gives you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with a grace period? Like accidentally parking where you shouldn't.
Hey, what about this one? Nah, that one gets an extra day. Somebody got lucky.
Like having an extra day grace period? When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Don't miss the 33rd Annual Winter Art Fair off the Square, November 12th and 13th at the Monona Terrace Convention Center. Featuring over 100 Wisconsin exhibitors with a wonderful selection of ceramics, paintings, glass art, wood, jewelry, and much more. Place your bids at our silent auction Saturday only. Children will enjoy the Young Collectors Corner. Buy local for the holidays. The Winter Art Fair off the Square. Put it on your calendar today.
I'll never forget January 6th, watching my fellow law enforcement officers defending the Capitol, defending our freedoms, defending democracy, and then 5 officers died. But Ron Johnson is making excuses for rioters who tried to overthrow our government, even calling them peaceful protests. Johnson defended Donald Trump's lies and even supported efforts to make it harder for some people to vote at all. Senator Johnson's just not for us.
And Citizens United is responsible for the content of this ad.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A big day in the NFL as teams try to build their rosters ahead of a 3 p.m. Central Time trade deadline.
Now, one team that didn't make a peep, General Manager Brian Gutekunst and the Packers did nothing to improve the roster, either for what's left of this year or in the future. I'm not bitter at all. The Vikings land a tight end from division rival Detroit. TJ Hawkinson, the former Iowa Hawkeye first-round pick, traded from the Lions to Minnesota, so he goes from the worst team in the league to the first team in the division. And the Lions get a second-round pick next year, a third-round pick in 2024, and the Vikings also get a couple of fourth-round picks. He is the Lions' leading receiver this year, 26 catches, 395 yards, 3 touchdowns. By the way, the Packers visit Detroit, noon kickoff this coming Sunday.
The Bears have spent the week building for their future, landing a target at wide receiver who for the past few weeks was rumored as a possibility for the Packers. Third-year wide receiver Chase Claypool ends up in Chicago, sending a second-round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Claypool has more than 2,000 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns in his first 2 NFL seasons.
We'll have a final check of your first warn forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
Maybe she could sell her house.
What could go wrong?
Like listing your house, then dealing with all the trouble, expense, not to mention closing costs. We Buy Ugly Houses can buy your house fast for all cash as is with no hassle. Call or click to sell quick.
Radical Tim Michaels is extremely divisive.
I don't care who I offend.
And at his company, the culture comes from the top. Multiple court filings say women were sexually assaulted, harassed, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
If she refused demands for sex, she would be blackballed from working on a pipeline job.
Higher-ups dismissed the women as liars and fired those who spoke out.
I don't care who I offend.
That's how Tim Michaels runs his company. Don't let him run our state.
Don't miss the 33rd Annual Winter Art Fair off the Square, November 12th and 13th at the Monona Terrace Convention Center. Featuring over 100 Wisconsin exhibitors with a wonderful selection of ceramics, paintings, glass art, wood, jewelry, and much more. Place your bids at our silent auction Saturday only. Children will enjoy the Young Collectors Corner. Buy local for the holidays. The Winter Art Fair off the Square. Put it on your calendar today.
Tim Michaels and Tony Evers have very different plans for Wisconsin. Tim Michaels wants to ban abortion, including in cases of rape or incest. Tony Evers wants to get costs down. Michaels would jail the doctors who perform abortions. Evers would lower costs. And while Michaels said gay people shouldn't leave their house, Evers is still really set on that cost thing. So here's the choice. Tim Michaels' plan for fewer rights and more division, or Tony Evers' plan to drive costs down, down, down.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland.
As in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor.
Like really rich.
So rich.
Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it, Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
It really makes our hearts melt.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Nice.
I see your hard work, everything you do to try to make it, but people continue to be left behind. I'm running for Senate to put more money in your pocket. Ron Johnson's had 12 years to make things better, but costs are still rising, and all he's managed to do is write a tax cut for himself. I believe better is possible. I believe hard work can pay off, and I'll never stop fighting until it does. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
Some ideas seem good, but aren't.
Maybe she could sell her house.
What could go wrong?
Like listing your house, then dealing with all the trouble, expense, not to mention closing costs. We Buy Ugly Houses can buy your house fast for all cash as is with no hassle. Call or click to sell quick.
We've got a lot of news coming up. With just 1 week to go until Election Day, a look at the key races around the country. Plus our exclusive interview with California Governor Gavin Newsom. Will he run for president as a Democrat in 2024? And could there be a vaccine to combat RSV coming soon? That's all tonight here on the CBS Evening News.
Well, fresh off one of her biggest album launches of her career, Taylor Swift announced a new U.S. stadium tour starting in 2023. The 27-date tour will kick off March 18th in Glendale, Arizona, and wrap up with 2 nights in Los Angeles in August. There is one stop scheduled for Chicago. That's about as close as it's getting to us, right? Tour openers will include Paramore, Phoebe Bridgers, Girl in Red, Gail, and Gracie Abrams.
Well, let's go to Gary. Final check of the forecast. Beautiful day out there.
Yeah, take a look at that view from the WISC Skycam. Sunny skies there, the Platteville Queen Bee radio-sized Skycam. Sun just about ready to set in the west. Temperatures 68 Madison, 73 in Lone Rock, 72 in Boscobel, 72 right now in Edgerton, 67 in Deerfield. Look for temperatures to drop off to about 50 by late evening with clear skies.
We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. CBS Evening News is next.